Hey, DJ. How is it going, DJ? It is your birthday today. I am super elated and excited. I'm trying to do one thing on. Okay, got that going. Sorry. This is all new to me. Whoever's watching, just bear with me one moment. This will be my first time doing this alone. So I am trying to get it all figured out, and I think I got it all figured out. Um, Demarcus, tell me what's going on. Today is the big day. How you feeling, guy?
Feel good. Just another day older.
All right, I'm ready to rock. So I think we probably are still going to have a little challenge because you're so close to me. The mics are catching each other. I'm going to close my door and see if that helps. Okay, so I'm back. Hey, greetings to everyone who's here. Thank you so much for joining. Today is a super special day. I am here celebrating the birth of my son. 31 years ago, we were kicking it. Literally, he was kicking it. He was kicking out. And he turned 31 today. Today is June the 7th, and we are super elated. In addition to that, we're also, I am launching for the first time my own show. Many of you seen me on the show with the Hey Sister Girls, Robin and G. And on that show, we focus primarily on the health and healing of women. And I feel compelled and called to stretch and do more because when I'm working with my clients, what I'm finding is that they need more than just themselves. And so it really appealed to me that it was a good direction to go because I'm recognizing in my own family that healing is possible and that once one person gets the word, then many others can get the word. So I am elated to be joined today with Demarcus, and what a history making day for us in terms of this. So 31 years ago, I was birthing my son, and today I am birthing Knewtritional Knit, which is the name of this show. It is Knewtritional Knit. And Knewtritional Knit is really a healing movement in motion. I am endeavoring to weave together this truth and transformation and testimonies, just, this great around the fabric of families and how we can become rooted together, not only in many endeavors in our life, but also on a healing journey. It is rooted in the belief that we do not heal and that we hand down a true legacy, not just wealth and wisdom, but also history. So I'm your host, your advocator, your coach, your educator. I believe in advocating for you on a regular basis. I'm always going to be found coaching and coming alongside folks, but also I'm an educator. And when I'm in the field of coaching, many times they say that's not the place to teach. Like as a coach, you shouldn't teach. So I am a teacher always. And so each one of the episodes that I do here live on Saturdays at 3:30 Central Time, we will unravel the tangled threads of metabolic dysfunction, generational illnesses, emotional suppression, spiritual neglect, and knit together a new, whole, thriving way forward. So essentially, we say things like, this is in my family. Diabetes runs in my family. Heart disease runs in my family. And what I want us to work through is that no, it doesn't run in your family. What runs in your family is habits. We have some of the same habits around eating, the same habits around how we move. And so you're going to always get from me some advocating. I'm going to go to bat for you. Even when I'm working with my clients, I tell them often that I go to bat for them as well, against them sometimes, because they have their own mindsets and what they think. And sometimes it's hard to break out of a diet mindset. So there's a little struggle when they are trying to make a change. But I'm here to tell you that we can make these changes together, and I'm going to advocate for you. And then I'm going to be coaching, coming alongside you, walking with you, being with you. But also that C is Christian, because I'm a whole God girl. So you're going to hear scriptures weave throughout, because I lean in on my relationship with the Lord on all things that I do. And I believe that how he guides us is definitely a calling. And so I feel compelled and called, as God has been healing me and making me whole, that now I am called to help others do the same. And so I just want to start with a couple of scriptures around the nutritional knit. Basically, one of the things that we know is that we perish because we lack knowledge. And because we lack knowledge, we are literally not well. A lot of our sicknesses are rooted in the fact that we don't have the right knowledge about how to be healed and how to be whole. And then also, the word tells us that God wants us to prosper and be in good health. And so what does that mean? It means that we have to strive to be in good health. And so each week, Knewtritional Knit will create a space to confront what we've normalized, reframe what we've inherited, and reclaim what is rightfully ours. And that is health, wholeness, and healness. My big question to everyone is, will we be made whole? And what does it take for us to become whole? As the ace, I'm going to blend some science. You're going to get some scripture. I'm also a storyteller. I got strategies, and not just to inform, but the idea is that we transform, that we look different, we be different, we become all that we've been called to do. And if you're kingdom folks, so that we operate in the kingdom to our full potential. We will do some laughing, some crying, some reflecting, but at the end of it, we will rise. Because in this space, we do not sugarcoat dysfunction. We expose it. We don't normalize disease. We reverse it. And we don't inherit pain without also claiming the power to heal it. And so we have been given this power to heal. So as I said in my opening, today is a really special day for me. My son is here and present. And just let me talk about that, because the word tells us in Jeremiah 1:5, before you were formed in my womb, I knew you. There's another new again, right? And this idea of behind God knowing us, in that he had a great plan for us. It's up to us to operate in that great plan. And so this segment is really deep for me. It's about legacy, about purpose, about generational transformation. Giving birth to DeMarcus, I was a very young mom. So many things I did not know. So many things I wish I had known. And I would have been able to drive in a different direction. And so now that I know, what am I going to do differently? My goal is, on this birthday, and as we've been walking through this years of healing, is to really embark upon changing what the inheritance look like. The Bible says that we should leave an inheritance to our children. So I've been really focused on how to leave him well, whether it's property, whether it's, life insurance, all the things. And now today, I want to embark on helping me and others that we can leave a healing inheritance to our children, that we can help our children's children. I'm hoping that my grandchildren will never see cereal, that they never have to have cereal, that they never have to be addicted to sugar, is my goal for that. And so this is about a bloodline change, right? And so as we walk into this new era of bringing Knewtritional Knit, which is a show spinoff from Knewtritional Knowledge. Knewtritional Knowledge was birthed in really recognizing that knowledge around health and healing was a problem and that it was a gap. And so we've been that bridge over the gap to help others. And so today I want to bring and talk to my son today, and really go deeper into his own healing journey. Both of us are still on our healing journey. As many of you know, I was diagnosed with autoimmune lupus. I've been able to heal that. I've been a sugar addict. I've suffered with plantar fasciitis, gout, joint issues where I've had to have surgeries, and all of it rooted in what I was eating and how I was eating it. And so tonight, we're going to turn a corner. I'm going to have a conversation. I normally ask him, does he want me to sing it or say it? I'm not going to ask him that today, but I am going to, talk with him, let him share a little bit about himself. I personally refer to him as my gentle giant. I've been referring to him that his entire life. He's always been a big kid with a big heart. And I will say as a parent that some of the health challenges that he's faced, I take full responsibility for them, simply because I did not know. I did not know. And then when I started to learn some better things, now I know even those things weren't better. So there was a time when, McDonald's was the way to go, right? And if we were only eating one burger, then we were doing better than we could be doing. There have been times where, we thought a meat and 2 vegetables were our things to make sure that we were healthy. And then in not having enough movement. So we've been all over the spectrum related to what is supposed to be a healing journey. And so I'm going to just talk through, welcome DeMarcus to the show. I'm going to go on mute because I still don't know if we're going to turn your mic on and let's just see if we're going to have some bleeding.
I think we'll be okay.
Feel loud. Did you say damn? I was supposed to say that on camera. That's my boy, y'all. That's my boy. All right, we got to figure out where you can go in the house. I'm going to give you a minute to try to relocate maybe to, that's still close though. Yeah, let me get you just to read. I'm gonna go on mute and let you say your greetings, and then we should be fine for that.
Okay. All right, so I'm DeMarcus. People call me DJ. I am Denitra's son. I just turned 31 years old today, so happy birthday to me. I've personally been on this journey for about, I would say, I was diagnosed with diabetes in 2016. So I found out I had diabetes, but I didn't take it seriously till recently because I had a recent health scare. And that's what's prompted me to go, with a high protein diet, which has actually worked well for me, even though everybody, we all have our struggles, we all have our fights that we go through. So I'm fighting, but I'm here today to let you know about my fight, so maybe it can help you with your fight. So that's all I have for now.
All right, D, that was pretty good. So Just a little background. In 2016, Demarcus was having some issues. What we learned is that there had been some health records that we had not been informed about. And so we ended up in the emergency room. And I was, again, an advocator, even at that time, advocating, asking them, because we couldn't figure out, just us together, like, what's going on with you? Why aren't you feeling at your best? And what we realized is that his sugar was high. And so I was asking, and they, were like, are you a diabetic? And at that time, we both were like, no one has ever told us that. When we went back for the, how they tell you when you leave the emergency room to go back and see your primary doctor. And when we went back and I pulled the records, sure enough, the numbers supported being pre-diabetic and diabetic. And so that's the first level of advocating that I want to say to each of you that are listening, is to make sure that you are getting your lab work and not just your lab work. Make sure you're getting the lab work of your children. And sometimes you have to be forceful with doctors, because they only want to do an A1C on you if you've said something about high sugar or it runs in your family. But what we've learned is that there's a precursor to that, which is insulin resistance. And so if I had gotten those records sooner, we could have been doing something sooner. So that's my first advocating of the show tonight, is to have you to make sure that for your children, when you're doing their yearly or every 6-month checkup, is to be sure that the doctor is doing for you an A1C, as well as a fasting insulin. I was just recently working with a client, and that client son that, she wasn't really initially trying to make changes for him. And I recommended that she actually get his test results done. And his test results showed that he was borderline pre-diabetic. And so we want to make sure that our kids are also being tested. Let me tell you another reason why. I was a teacher for a very long time, and students who are suffering with ADHD, students who are suffering with behavior issues, it very well could be tied to their blood sugar and insulin levels. So you want to make sure that you take the time to get those test results, so you will know how to better guide your child, because I didn't have that information, right? You think kids, they're so resilient, they can go through whatever, but I'm saying we want to be data driven when we are working with our children. And so that's one of the things that was a game changer for us. But it did take for us to land in the hospital. And Dee, so do you want to share maybe what you were eating that you feel gave like that major trigger? Because we kind of laugh about it now, not funny, but we can kind of trace back to that particular night, that what he had been eating and how it prompted this high sugar response that landed us in the emergency room.
All right, so for those of y'all who don't know, I am a server. I've been waiting tables for 12 years. It's not the best job to have while you on this journey, but I mean, you can definitely make it work. But I was working at Red Lobster at the time, and of course, Red Lobster is known for their cheddar bay biscuits. I was drinking raspberry lemonade, regular lemonade, sweet tea, and so my hand started to shake while I was at work. Like, it started to like kind of cramp up. And so one of my managers had called out. He was like, "You're probably diabetic." And I had never heard that. But I was like, it was so foreign to me. I was like, "No, that can't be me." Like, I'm in perfect health. I'm breathing. I'm fine. I'm walking around. I feel normal. And so that night after I got off work, I went to get a 12-pack soft taco supreme box from Taco Bell. And I feel like if my mother wouldn't have intervened, I would not be sitting here talking to you right now, because I was going to eat all that of my sugar. And So I think fast forward, my mom actually took me to the hospital, and my sugar level was 630. And the crazy part about it, y'all, I felt fine. Like I was wondering why everybody was panicking, why everybody was trying to get me to the bag. I'm like, I'm fine, I'm walking. But in all hindsight, you are not fine. Like even after I found out I was diabetic, I was still kind of practicing the same things, like eating like whatever I want, because I didn't feel it. But it's just like it just metabolize like sugar. It just metabolizes differently. So like you might not feel it right then, but trust me, it's doing something without looking. Like I told some of my coworkers the other day that they were shocked when I told them that bread cooks in their body because our body temperature is 98 degrees, and they looked at me like, why did you have to tell me that? Now you've ruined bread for me. And I'm like, but it's the truth. Like bread cooks in your body. So I'm thankful to my mom for, going on her own journey, gaining the knowledge that she's gained over the years and her certificates, because it has really helped me a lot. And I say help, but it really saved my life. Like honestly. So yeah, I just thank you, mom. Yep, and that's all I got.
I appreciate that, D. And so just to unpack that a little bit more, so it is these silent killers that are taking us out, because it's not, so diabetes is not the thing that immediately takes you out. You don't eat something and then you're out, right? It is a slow process. So this is why I tell people when they get the diagnosis that I'm pre-diabetic, don't let the pre fool you, because that is 10 years of damage. So by the time we were in the emergency room in 2016, there had been some significant damage that had already been happening to his body. And so this was like culminating on top of culminating. Like the body just could not take anymore. And where he still was, feeling the same, things weren't feeling all over the place for him. What was happening is he was on such a high sugar that everything was shutting down. And so, yes. And what's so interesting is when we got to the emergency room and they were doing the intake, I was the one saying, like, can you check his blood sugar? And the lady was like, is he diabetic? Does he have a history of diabetes? Does diabetes run in your family? I was like, no, but I'm requesting that you check his blood sugar. The blood sugar, as he said, came back 630. So they rushed him immediately, put him on insulin. Like, I mean, he was really at death's door. And so you can be feeling good. And this is why I tell people when they're trying to lose weight or they think everything is only about the diet. It's only about how do I, lose weight. It's really about how do you lose inflammation. Our bodies are inflamed from eating these foreign substances. And so on Knewtritional Knit, our goal is to bring us along on this journey together. It wasn't enough for me to start doing better with my health. I needed to, and it hasn't been easy. We're going to talk a little bit about that because people are stubborn. And if you cannot really unpack the damage that you're doing, or you're taking it very lightly, or you're like, well, I don't eat it that much, right? My kid was literally decaying and dying right before my eyes. And so I've had to be forceful with him. There have been times where he and I have gone out to eat and he wanted to order certain things. I'm like, hey, if I'm treating, I ain't buying that. I'm sorry, right? And so when I hear parents, and DeMarcus can attest to this, his favorite food at one time was macaroni and cheese. And so we used to have to try to balance, okay, if you do macaroni and cheese, you got to have green beans too, right? You can't have macaroni and cheese and French fries because all of that sugar is all metabolizing as sugar. Well, now he don't eat macaroni at all. Yay, right? But I'm just saying, we're thinking with our children that these things are like small nuances that are really doing ultimate damage. And we think, oh, if I just have a little bit, then it's not that much. And we're saying a little bit. If you've heard me speak before, a teaspoon of sugar is all your body can metabolize. in a serving of macaroni, there are probably 36 teaspoons of sugar. And so that can paint you a picture of what the damage is. And so, DeMarcus, I have another question for you.
What's up?
Yes. So, in terms of health challenges, so that's one instance, because you mentioned like, the little stubbornnesses that are there, like over time, where you talked about you didn't take it serious. Will you kind of go through just a little bit of the journey where that time was really bad and that time should have been the time to change all things, but there have been more times that since then, over the time, and you don't have to go into details, but just give a little timeline of like what your experience has been since you learned at the hospital in the emergency room that you were diabetic. What would you say have been some other things that have occurred over time?
I can say a lot because I was very stubborn. When I found out I was diabetic, I didn't believe it because, like I said, I wasn't dying, I wasn't stroking out. They weren't talking about amputating limbs. It was just, oh, you got diabetes. And so I even remember one day when I went back at the day after I went to the hospital, I went back to Red Lobster. And literally, like, it's so funny now because I know what I know. And like, if you knew better, you would do better. Like, my manager literally offered me orange juice because they thought it was healthy. It's a fruit juice. So, that. And then also, it's your body just shows you little signals. Like, I remember, oh my God, I remember the first time I had gout in my toe. Like, I could barely walk. I remember I came home. I remember my mom came home and she had fixed something to eat. And I was like, nah, Mom, I'm not hungry. And she looked at me like I was crazy. And we went back to the ER because, and the doctors had told us that's what it was. It was a sugar buildup of gout in my toe. And y'all, when I say gout is one of the worst feelings ever, like it is the worst feeling ever. Like, you would rather die than have your big toe crunched up in a and I'm just being real, y'all. It's real life. My big toe felt crunched up and like it would not move out or straighten out. But actually, I thank God for that because that's just a signal that like you need to stop what you're doing. Like, you need to do better. What's another instance? I remember I told myself, yeah, they might say I got diabetes, but I ain't got to take shots. Well, just last year, it had got to a point to where I had to start taking insulin shots, and I was like, dang, like, we didn't get to this point now. It's progressively getting worse. And so, it's like I said, it's a struggle, it's a fight, but I mean, we here, y'all. We here to help. So
Appreciate you saying that. And so some of those things that he shared, thank you. And that is the goal of Knewtritional Knit, is for us to get real and raw, because I mean, we're dying, we're losing limbs, and we're dying and losing limbs prematurely. I have schoolmates who are my same age that have had amputations, that are passing away from things that are reversible. These things are reversible. And so when we think about gout, I also suffered with gout. I mentioned that earlier. And we've always been told that gout is, because of red meat, that you should stop eating red meat. I remember giving up crab legs. I used to have crab legs. They said, don't eat seafood. This is why gout. Well, I stopped eating all of those things, became a vegetarian and a vegan at one time, and I was still suffering with gout. And so I couldn't understand why. So by the time, and again, we're talking about sharing this around a inheritance, of healing. When I learned better, I was able to guide him through it, because I knew by that time that the gout was caused by the sugar intake. So if you are a person who is suffering with gout and a doctor has you on alpirinol, which is how they treat gout, and then they told you to stop eating red meat, again, I would admonish you to get an A1C, to get a fasting insulin and figure out what sugar is doing in your body. So if you are a huge Coke drinker, you eat a lot of bread, bread is going to metabolize in your body as sugar. If you're eating, chicken strips and they're breaded, all of those things are going to metabolize in your body as sugar. And so what happened with me is gout went away when I stopped eating sugar. And DeMarcus can attest to the same thing, that he's not had a gout flare up because now he's changing the way that he eats. And the way that he eats now does not include eating processed sugar as much as he probably has in the past. Like I said, we're all on our journey and we're all moving forward. All right, DeMarcus, we got another question for you.
What we got?
Yes. So what I want to kind of shift to now, because we've talked about a lot of the physical things that you've dealt with, and we know, and we'll just say, like, there's still some weight release that needs to happen. There's still some inflammation that you're working on. But can you talk about what your highest weight has ever been in your lifetime and where you are now with your weight? And then what are some of the things? Well, don't go to that yet. Let's just talk about where you are with your goals around your weight.
All right, so when I found out I had diabetes in 2016, I remember at the hospital I had weighed in at 370, like that was the highest weight I had ever seen on the scale, and now I'm down to, I would say, I think the last time I got on the scale I was like 307. So
let's just pause. We don't run over those kind of victories. So we're talking about a person who was 370 pounds and now down to 307. So a lot of times, this is what I talk about. We don't body shame. We're not talking about bodies. And also when we see people in certain stages, we never know where they've come from. So we're talking about a 63 pound, which is basically a kid, right? I mean, it's like carrying someone else. My highest weight was like 260. I am running in the 190s, 180s now, and I'm thankful for that. And so then when we think about these choices, that we see people who are overweight, medically they call it obesity, and you think about when DeMarcus went back to the doctor, went back to work, and someone with good intentions offered him orange juice, and the orange juice was offered in place of like getting sweet tea or a soda, right? And that person felt like they were doing something good, again, rooted in misinformation, because orange juice is just as much sugar as a soft drink, right? And so good intention, but again, that's why we have nutritional knowledge. It's why we have nutritional knit. It's so that we can continue to be this bridge. And thankfully, DeMarcus better understands what's good for his body. So DeMarcus, I want to switch to thinking about, we've talked a lot about the body. I want to start thinking about the mind, because you recently started something that and I'm gonna let you tell it so I don't steal your thunder. You recently started something that I've been rooting for more than 12 years, if you think about it. And so I say that you've been able to do this and do this well because there's been some mind changes that have been impacted by the way you've changed how you eat. So I'm gonna go on mute and listen for that.
Yeah, so what my mom is referring to is I recently got back into school. I attend Jackson State Community College, and so yeah, it was a mindset shift. For a while, I just felt like college wasn't for me. I was gonna make it. I had all these great big ideas or I was gonna be a server forever because I felt like at that point I was making a lot of money. But I'm just grateful for my mom because she always shows me there's much more than what meets the eye. So yeah, I recently just wrapped up the semester for my. I'm officially a sophomore now. I made two A's and two B's. And y'all, the stuff that my mom is talking about is not just her saying things. Y'all, I was literally in biology class. uh, I was literally in biology class, and the way that my uh, the way that my biology teacher explained it is like y'all, everything except protein metabolizes as sugar in your body. So either it's disaccharide, monosaccharide. Like I'm learning, like, and my mom would tell me all the time, I don't care who you get it from, as long as you get it. So y'all, my biology teacher literally like broke it down, and she didn't even know that she was teaching me to like be, cut the like kind of cut the sugar out, but from what I learned in biology class, like y'all, our cells like our cells do not need sugar at all. Like everything that my biology teacher talked about was literally how protein helps cells. Protein helps this, protein helps that. Like literally the only thing she said about a carbohydrate is that the body burns it fast. So yeah, but the overall school experience, I love it. I'm great. I'm excited for next semester. This is my sophomore semester, and then I graduate with my associates. Um, I just thank God for a clearer mind, more knowledge, um, and it's just been a great ride. So I appreciate it.
Well, I want you to go first so I wouldn't steal your thunder, but now I'm gonna have some thunder. So I am Demarcus is a student, and it has been a long time coming, and he's trying really hard not to use the word carnivore because I always say that we don't teach carnivore. Although that is how we eat. We eat as carnivores. We have removed fruits and vegetables from our way of eating, and we have found that has been healing for us, removing that. But it also gives you such brain clarity, right? And so I believe that it is having a huge impact on him being able to, be a student, be a good student, enjoy it because he's no longer on this sugar high, if you will. And so again, I'm taking that back to as we think about our families and we think about our students, we think about our kids, and we celebrate everything with sugar, right? Birthdays are sugar, graduations are sugar, cakes, cookies, and all the things. And so now we are able to get to a place where we are dealing with a mindset that is no longer tied to sugar. So I am celebrating, yes, launching this show, Nutritional Niche. Let's do better together, but also just the shift in what's happening in my own family with my son, that I can leave him a healing inheritance so that he can then pass that to his children. May never go to McDonald's. You're right. They may never go to Burger King, or if they do, they're going to be eating burger patties. Give me the Happy Meal toy with the burger patty versus all the other garbage that could take them to another place. So, Demarcus, another question I have for you is, what do you want other men, sons, or families to know? And you've kind of hit on it a little bit, but what else do you want them to know?
I just kind of wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying about celebrating with food because yeah, like I was doing good in school, but the way my old mindset thinks is, oh, well, I just made an A on this assignment. Let me go to McDonald's and so I had to fight. Y'all, when I say I'm still fighting to this day, like what he say? All my life I had to fight. So yeah, we're we're still fight, and we're still fighting. We're still becoming better people, but we come 1% better every day. But I mean, as a man, like I just want to be around for my kids, like my future kids. Um, I just honestly like I'm on this journey because I just want to feel better. I've come a long way, but I still got a long way to go. Like I notice different things, and like I just keep it real with everybody. Like yesterday, I was putting on my shirt and it was tight, like, or I bent down to tie my shoe and I had to, like, I mean, it's just not. It's not the life you want to live. I just feel like being overweight is like a personal prison. Honestly, like mentally, physically, like it changes your mood. I remember, y'all, when I've worked in, like I told y'all, I've been a server all my life, so all my adult life, and I can literally look back at times where my sugar probably has taken over my anger, and I've literally flashed out at like people that probably didn't even, if they did deserve it, they didn't deserve it. I didn't have to do it like I did. Like in this new space that I am in now, like I recently transferred from one job to another, but both of those were on good terms. Like I could go back to the other job if I wanted to, but I love my new job. Everybody loves me. My attitude, I've noticed in myself is way better. Even when I have a situation at work, I've noticed that I handle the situation differently from being, couldn't, like eating less sugar because I mean y'all, when I say sugar is a drug, it is a drug. And it's just a legal drug. Like that's what I can say about it. So just yeah, we just gonna keep fighting. We just gotta keep fighting.
I appreciate your transparency, right? Because that transparency is what will help the next person with their struggle. Because sometimes we sit and we don't think that we think we're the only one, right? Like nobody else is having these same experiences. So when you keep it real and raw, it helps other people to see, and so when we're thinking about other children, other families, and we kind of make light of some of the things that we're consuming or that we're feeding our kids, there are better ways that you can feed your kids. And so I'm 54, I'll be 55 this year. 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, on my birthday, my husband and I, Sam, and shout out to him, I see him joining in. We did my birthday, and I'm a birthday cake girl. I have had a birthday cake for my birthday every year of my birth. Even if somebody didn't buy me a birthday cake, I would buy my own. As a matter of fact, I used to tell people, don't worry about the cake. I'll get my cake, whatever else you want to do to celebrate me, because I was going to make sure I had a cake. But we did something. We created a new tradition, and that tradition was to use candles on a steak. So we were out to eat, and he was bound and determined. I mean, literally left me at the table while he went to get candles so that we could still not take away the tradition of blowing out candles and making a wish, right? But we did it on something different. So rather than having a birthday cake, we had a birthday steak. And so I brought that tradition in. I'm gonna try to see if I can figure out how to do this. I want to share my screen so that you all can see that I did the same thing with DeMarcus. Now, I don't know if this is going to go well. Are you all able to see my screen? Yes. So DeMarcus had his happy birthday. He turned 31 and he had a bone-in ribeye steak. So again, changing the trajectory.
With garlic butter, that was delicious, actually.
Yes, changing the trajectory. We left this steak without being sleepy, having the itis, or any of those things. We were able to leave, and actually we went and did a 5K walk after we had this, because we still had energy. Now, the menu had a strawberry cake, came across the mind. but we chose health. And this is the same thing we're saying. How can you celebrate your families? How can you have celebrations that does not include, as DeMarcus said, and we often say, this legal drug, right? And so this was one way that we did that. I'm gonna try this again because I'm learning how to run this system. Let's see if something changes. Yes. So there we have it. This was the 31-year-old celebrating his birthday. And DeMarcus will tell you, I have a picture for every year of his birthday where we have all pictures of cakes. Where, and if I was real cool and maybe at another time, I could show you a picture from every year of his birthday with a happy birthday, DeMarcus, with a birthday cake. And so this year, as we're trying to change the inheritance and what we pass down, I want this to be the tradition that's passed down versus the tradition of a cake. So we had a birthday steak and it was delicious. So awesome sauce. Thank you, DeMarcus. Now I don't know how to make it go away. Okay, there it goes. It's gone. All right. So DeMarcus, any other birthday reflections or goals you're setting? And then I'm going to let you talk a little bit about the way that you eat and how it serves you. So do that first, and then tell us if you have any additional kind of birthday reflections. Because you're 31, man. 31 years ago, I was on my way to the hospital to let loose. So let's hear it.
What was the question again?
So the first question is about the way that you eat that you feel like serves you.
So yeah, definitely. So like, so me working at, I've like y'all if y'all hear me talk about restaurants a lot, is what I've been doing my whole adult life. Shout out to my mama for that too, because that's how I got into it. But no, like God has blessed me now to where I'm actually working at a steakhouse, so it's not as hard as it used to be. Like when I was working at Chili's, y'all know the triple dippers, the the chipotle, the honey chipotle crispers, the strawberry lemonade, all that. Like it's not as hard to eat at work now because I work at the steakhouse. They got bone in ribeyes, New York strip fillets, chicken, pork chops, salmon. So I mean, honestly, I can have my pick, but I do have to watch out for those too because, of course, it's not all perfect. It's seed oils, the seasons they use, it's different. So but that way of thinking, like I work doubles. Like my mom will tell you, I work doubles every weekend. I drink water, I drink electrolytes. It gives me energy. Yeah, I work 12-hour shifts running around, talking, carrying food, everything, and I feel like people notice. Honestly, people notice that when I'm eating like a lot of protein and drinking electrolytes because I have more energy. They ask me how I do it, like, and I just tell them what I do. And me and one of my friends, we actually had this running joke of because she noticed I used to drink electrolytes a lot on my doubles, and so she always tell me like if I'm looking a little bit down, she was like, "Oh, you need some electrolytes on," which is laugh it off and stuff like that. So um I definitely see a difference. I even sometimes like even on this way of eating, I literally like sometimes I don't even have to write down orders if it's like two or three people because my brain clarity is better. I can remember orders and put them in without even writing it down and get back to my job. I've definitely seen a lot of improvement in me serving while on this way of eating. Like, and look, yeah, like I said, I'm not perfect. I still might have my strawberry lemonade or I hate to say it, but I still might have a little bowl of mac and cheese. It's not the portions that I used to have, but like he ain't through with me yet, y'all. I promise he's not through with me yet. So I hope that answers your first question. And then
Yeah, that's good. And a couple of things that you said, first of all, that the goal is to normalize some new things. So I loved hearing like your coworker, you've done your electrolytes at work enough that you're normalizing that as a pattern for you, right? And so that pattern is helping somebody else say to you like, wow, man, I can tell what's going on with you, right? And then when you say, hey, I still have, a bite. I heard you say bowl, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna be wishful thinking and say bite. A bite of macaroni. But the idea, even with that, is that this is not about perfection. It is about the process. It is about progression. It is about, I know something different, right? And even just knowing that helps you to be able to say, okay, that was enough. Let me push back, right? That, I'm not going to have the macaroni in the French fries, or I'm going to have a bite. So this is what we're saying, is that you must first have some knowledge to even know that you need to push back. Some people think that macaroni ain't bad at all, right? They think they're making a choice between, is it homemade macaroni or is it Kraft macaroni? And what we're saying is that your blood sugar is going to rise with eating macaroni. So thank you for sharing that transparency. And then the last thing, then if you want to stay on, you can, because we're almost to time. We want to honor folks' space. Any birthday reflections you have, and like, where do you go from here? What are you doing differently? What does your journey continue to look like in terms of your health, your healing, where do you go with school from here? Like, what things do you see next for you?
Definitely with school. I'm doing general studies right now, but when I graduate from Jackson State, I definitely want to pursue of course, my hospitality management degree at Middle Tennessee State. So that's definitely a goal of mine. As far as small goals, definitely I want to start eating at home more. And just really, I just want to really give myself a shot of to actually be on this journey and be in it. And like you said, trust the process. That's one thing I'm learning now about this whole journey. Like, it's not gonna happen overnight. Like, y'all don't get mad at the scale. Don't get when you just can't do it, because it like my mom always tell me, you didn't get big overnight. You're not gonna lose it overnight. So you just gotta trust the process. If you up 2 pounds, just know your body doing something different. Like, it's a process. I definitely want to get a steady gym routine, lifting weights, free weights. And shout out to my mama, y'all. It's her birthday too, like she said. I remember I wanted to quit wrestling, but in high school, but my mom, Net, did not let me quit. She was like, we just want to do it next year if you don't want to do it. And of course I ended up doing it for 2 more years. But she don't even know, but she actually, with me sticking with wrestling, it set the foundation for what I am. I mean, what I know about losing weight now, because if you don't know about wrestling, you have to meet a certain weight before you can wrestle. So when I first started wrestling, I was like 315 pounds. This is a freshman in high school at that, y'all. And so I had to be under 285 for to even consider wrestling. But thanks to my coaches, and thanks to my coaches for keeping me on track, my mama keeping me on track, and so all my my free weight training techniques and all my diet techniques. If I needed to lose weight, I understand how to do it. Another goal, just be better. That's all I can say. Just be 1% better every day. One of my favorite rappers, he was saying that if you go to the gym, if you don't do nothing but pull in the parking lot, that is success. That is success that you went to the gym. You ain't got to lift a weight. You ain't even got to go in. You ain't got to sign up. Just the fact that you made an attempt to go to the gym, I'm proud of you. I don't know, Mama. You want to help me out here? What else?
You're doing good. You did good. I appreciate you being open to being a part of this. I know for us, this health space for us is a huge big deal at this time. And really, we talk more about it being healing. So I appreciate you being vulnerable, you showing up, you being open to share. I know that you have this conversation with other people, you talk to other people about their own journey. And again, it's not about perfection. I'm still on my journey. It's a quote I remember by Joyce Meyer when she was talking about being called to be a Bible study teacher, and she would be teaching Bible study and still was going outside smoking cigarettes, right? So we're on this journey of wanting to be, as you said, 1% better, wanting to be, trying to learn better so we can be better and do better. And so I just want to say I am super proud of your journey. Like no one else, I've been here for 31 years, right? I've watched the moves, I've watched the things change, I've watched you evolve, I've watched you get, serious, more passionate. And for that, I am grateful. And so I do want to leave the audience with understanding the way that we eat. So we primarily are carnivore. We're going to be eating animal based. That means we're going to eat primarily protein and fat. And protein and fat are going to be the key markers. Those are the essential things to your body. What we've learned is removing carbohydrates that are non-essential to the body. And what I mean by non-essential is they are unnecessary to the body. Because of that, we are able to release the inflammation that's on our body and get to a healing place. And so you're going to catch us eating steak. Today we ate, you want to tell them what we ate today, DeMarcus?
We ate ribeye beef fat and scallops. Very delicious. Very, very delicious.
So again, changing what we inherit, what we pass down. So DeMarcus wanted to have scallops. We went out for steak earlier in the week, and then today he wanted scallops and beef fat. And yes, we cook beef fat and we had scallops. Those are the two essential nutrients. Protein and fat is what's essential to your overall health.
By the way, if y'all don't know what beef fat is, it's the best part of the fat on the ribeye. If y'all eat steaks, it's the best part of it's the gristle that you taste. Like we literally just eat just that part. So that was just
Thanks
my
for
little
that,
two
DeMarcus.
cents.
So we're going to get ready to bring this to a close. It is 4:30. We thank you all for joining. We had a couple of glitches. This was our very first time. It's my first time working solo. And I want to send a shout out to Robin Heron, who's also a co-host with me, for being here behind the scenes, helping me today. This was my very first time on StreamYard. But I just want to say, listening to DeMarcus, listening to his story, some things I don't know about his journey, it just reminds me that we have this opportunity to break cycles, break patterns, right? And we get a chance to build something brand new. And so I know that, in the family structure, we have these traditions that we are so used to, turkey and dressing and, greens and, all the things that we are, having a cake. I remember my grandmother having, 3 or 4 different cakes. What we understand now is that those should not be the primary things. We should be prioritizing protein and fat as a way of healing and a way of life. So when we talk about what we inherit, let's try to work toward not just doing, trace and trauma. Like we get a chance to really inherit something different. Transformation is what we're after. Insulin resistance and transformation, those hormonal dysfunctions, we want to make sure that we are checking in with our children, and we are also asking for these labs with our children. We're not assuming because they're young, they're okay. And if your child is having some type of challenges, health challenges, and no one has done an A1C on them, then you want to check into that. I just recently was working with a client, actually a friend of mine. She was taking her son back and forth to the hospital, and she was reading out to me like all the tests, and they think he got this, and they think it's this. They're going to run this test, run that test. I said, have they done an A1C? Have they done an A1C? And for about a week or two, they had not. They finally did an A1C. And when they did the A1C, sure enough, the child was in a pre-diabetic, diabetic range. This was something that was totally missed while they were talking about doing this surgery and that surgery. So I'm saying to you all, let that be a base point for you with your family. So what I want to say to us tonight is reflect on what you're passing down to your family, not just wealth. We want to be passing down health as well. And we need to understand what health is. And then how do you reclaim it with your family? How do you become the person who is making the difference? You've made a difference within yourself, and now you can make a difference within your family. It's not always easy. I've had lots of challenges with just trying to help my own personal family. Sometimes I can do 1,000 times better. So I want to say that out loud in transparency, that sometimes it's not easy to make that transition. What I'm saying is don't give up. The last thing I'm going to say is, if you haven't already dropped a happy birthday to DeMarcus in the comments, we want to make sure that we say happy birthday to DeMarcus. Put this on your calendar. Go and subscribe to the show on my channel, Advocator, Coach, Educator. I will be back Saturdays at 3:30 live. This was the first show. This was the groundbreaking premiere. Tonight, this was the history making. But there's more to come to try to help drive us to a different inheritance. My goal is for us to have a nutritional knit, for us to get better together, for us to do better together. And so with that being said, thank you all for joining. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for being here.